Hi again, welcome to another factoring video. Today's topic is trinomials again, but now when a does not equal 1. So we learned in the last video, before you start any factoring, you should look for a GCF. If I look for a GCF in this one, unfortunately there isn't one. And if I check out the a value, it's a 3, it's not a 1. That means we cannot use the pattern. So the pattern is now out. We have to use either decomposition or box method. So hopefully you kind of remember what those methods are, and then this is going to be really easy for us. So first one, decomposition, and this is the preferred method I think with most people, but hey, there's nothing wrong with that box or guess and check method. Whatever you're good at. So I get 3x squared minus 10x plus 3, 10x plus 3. This is my initial question. Remember, I'm going to, with grouping, decomposition is really just a grouping method. Decomposition refers to the fact that we need to decompose our middle term and write it as 2 terms to stretch this thing out to 4 terms to allow us to use grouping. So to do that, remember there's thinking steps. We have to go factors of a times c that add to b. So hopefully you have that thinking down a little bit, because we definitely use that in that pattern method, a slightly different version, but we still use it. So a is 3 in this case, c is 3, so we're looking for factors of 9 that add to the b value, which is negative 10. So factors of 9 that add to 10, negative 9, negative 1 multiply to make 9, negative 9, negative 1 add to make negative 10. So I rewrite this, 3x squared minus 9x minus 1x plus 3. You could have wrote the negative 1x first, then the negative 9x. The order won't matter. Out of my left half, I'm going to pull out a GCF. That's 3x. I'm left with x. And then do my division, minus 3. I'll forget about my GCF. Let's get to the next GCF. I see that they're not both negative, but I know I want my x to be positive here. So in order for my x to be positive, I have to pull out a negative 1. So negative 1, that's going to make this first x positive, and then positive divided by negative is negative 3. So my brackets match. I know I'm good to go. X minus 3, 3x minus 1. Okay, that's decomposition. The second method, box, or guess and check, whatever you want to say. I'll make my box. Remember, in the first here goes the ax squared term, so 3x squared. Over the second column is the 3. And then down here is my bx, negative 10x. And it is always that. So it's always ax squared. This is always c. This is always bx. All right? So factors of 3x squared. Well, factors of 3 have to be 3 and 1. And then x squared has to be x times x. Whenever your ax squared is prime, that's pretty easy. Just, 3 and 1 are the only numbers that make 3x squared. Factors of 3 again have to be 3 and 1. Now, remember, you're going to cross multiply. So I have to make something large to get to 10. So if I put the 3 down here, I'll have a 9x. If I put just the 1 up here, I'd get a 1x. That adds to 10. But remember, I have to have it as negative 10, so I need this to be negative, which means that guy has to be negative. Maybe I'll use red. I want that negative, means that has to be negative. I want this to be negative, which means that has to be negative. Now that adds to negative 10, which means these are my answers. So I'd get 3x minus 1, x minus 3. And you can see it's the same as the previous answer. They're in a different order, but that's okay. Let's look at our second one. Decomposition. So I'll write it out. So it ends up being, if I want to show my work, factors of a times c. A is 5, c is negative 10. So that's negative 50. That add to b. B is negative 23. Well, 50, 25, and 2 always jump out. So 25 and 2, 25 and 2. The way to make 25 plus 2, add the negative 23, put it as negative 25, and then that means this one has to be negative 25. So if I write this out, I would get 5x squared minus 25x plus 2x minus 10. Again, remember, these two still mean this. So we've changed the look but not the value, so we're allowed to do this. I'll make my imaginary line. And then now, good old grouping. Hopefully you've got that down by now. I'm not going to explain it as much. I'm just going through, pulling out my GCFs, pull out my greatest common factor again, write out my leftovers. There we go. For this reason, because we know grouping so well, usually classes like this one a little bit more. But you can use that box method. To keep the video short, however, I'm going to keep going with decomp. Okay. So, sorry, my pen wasn't working there for a second. Factors of a times c. A is 12. C is negative 6. So that is negative 72. They have to add to your b value those numbers, though. So my b value is negative 1. So factors of negative 72 that add to negative 1, negative 9 and 8. If you're not good with multiplication tables, this technique is tough, so maybe box will be better for you. You can contact me. I'll send you out some more examples if you need, or you can come find me at school. 12x squared minus 9x plus 8x minus 6. Again, you could have put the plus 8x first, the negative 9x second. There's my imaginary line. Pull out my GCF, 3x. I get 4x minus 3 left over. In this one, my GCF would just be a 2, a positive 2. So then I get 4x minus 3. My brackets match, so I'm happy. 4x minus 3, 3x plus 2. Awesome. Example 2. Again, we need those positive habits, so always look for a GCF. Sometimes they're there, other times they're not. Why we need to do it? Number one, you need to fully factor things, so you want them in its components, its prime factors. The other thing is, if you pull out the GCF at the start, it's going to make your future factoring much easier because you have smaller numbers. So if I look at this, I can definitely pull out a 3. So now I'd have 2x squared minus 7x plus 3. And then from here, I'd go through and I'd factor that. To switch things up, I'm going to use the box method. So my 3 will get carried along. I know I'm going to get 2 binomial factors. Let's use the box. We'll use purple here. So I'll set up the box. Now it's nice, we don't know the answer already. In the previous ones you did. So 6x squared, 9, that has to add to negative 21x. So some factors that make 6x squared. Well, I'll go 3x and 2x. It's guess and check. So don't worry about things too much. Just throw numbers down and check them. 9, that's easy, 3 and 3. So again, I like to multiply without my signs. I get 6x. I get 9x. No matter what I do here, it's not going to work out. So if I make them both negatives, I get negative 15x. It just won't work. So what I have to do is just try again. So I'll have to make a new box, unfortunately, because my little software here doesn't let me just erase things. 6x squared, that's 9, negative 21x, 3x and 2x. So always just keep trying this side until you exhaust all your possibilities, then move finally to this. So I'm leaving 3x and 2x alone. I'm going to go now 9 and 1, okay? So if I go, we'll say 9 and 1 here, this gives me 27, this gives me 2x. That's not going to work. What if I made that 9 and that 1? Well, now I'd get 3x down here, and I'd get 18x up here, and look, that's going to make 21. I just got to make these negative. So that means these have to be negative. Again, let's maybe make those red and make that red so it stands out. So negative 18 minus 3 definitely equals negative 21x, which means these are my answers. 3x minus 9, 2x minus 1. And that's the box. Box can be quick, but people can get stuck. With decomp, usually you're moving slowly, but you're moving forward. Box, you could be stuck still for a while. So that's why I think most people shy away from it. Final example. My black isn't wanting to work again. We'll go with purple, I guess. Pull out a GCF if you can. To me, 4 jumps out at me. So I'd get 6x squared minus 5x minus 6. And now I'm going to try to factor that. Let's use box one more time because you've done decomp so many times. I think you get it. 6x squared. This is negative 6. If you don't like this method, do decomp yourself. See if it matches my answer. Should add up to negative 5x. So 6x, again, I'm just going to go 3x and 2x. And then I got to play with my factors of negative 6. So if I go 3 and 2 again, so I'd get 9 this way. I'd get 2 this way. Okay, well, 9 and 4 can make a 5x. And if I look, I got to make that guy negative. So one of them need to be negative. The negative should go with the 9. So that means it has to partner with the 3. 4 minus 9x is definitely negative 5x, meaning these are my factors. So the 4 gets carried along from the previous step. 3x plus 2. 2x minus 3. Again, you don't have to use box method. Go for decomp if you wish. Quick summary of our learning. There's decomposition. That is the preferred method, I think, people. More math teachers around here use decomposition. Now, what the math teacher uses isn't always the best. They like it. You might not like it. So in that case, you can use the other method. And here are the thinking steps for decomposition. But there's box method. If you like it, go for it. Don't feel bad. Remember, there's the setup. You have to do your multiplication, do your check for your magic numbers there. And it works. So either one works. I hope one of these kind of make more sense with you. Be good at one. You do not need to use both. Just be good at one. Good luck, everybody.